So it was Christmas Day, and my dad had been sick again. My dad was 90 years old, so he got sick quite a bit, but he was still ambulatory, and he was still driving. And prior to that, he would disappear in the middle of the night often. My mom would wake up. And most of the time, it just turned out that he decided to go gamble and would be gone for as long as he could. But sometimes it was because he felt like he was dying. And so you never knew. It's Las Vegas, roulette. And so he had disappeared one evening about 4 months earlier and drove himself to the hospital. And he was perfectly fine, but they found out that he had really excellent insurance, and so they kept him there, and they ran all the tests because he went without his ID, and he was a little confused. Long part of that story short, he winds up with MRSA. Oh no, the hospital disease, that was ironic. And so he's very ill from this, and of course suffering from all the symptoms, and so eventually his hospital stay has to end, and we put him in a rehab center, and this takes us to December 25th. Now, I love my dad with all my heart, always have, but I'm a little queasy around hospitals and rehab and MRSA. And so while I was communicating with him, I wasn't always going and visiting him every day like I know that I should have. And so there was a little bit of guilt there. Spoiler alert, this is going to be a Jewish story. And so it was Christmas Day of all things, so I'm like, well, of course on Christmas Day I could go visit my dad. And so I went over to the rehab center, and there was my dad, and he was looking very pale, not well at all. And the place was, I'm not going to call it festive, but people were trying to make the best of celebrating with their loved ones, and it was like barracks. It was really not a pleasant place at all. And so I go up to my dad, and I'm talking to him, but he seems to be asleep. And then as I'm standing there, all of a sudden, the vitals all drop on the monitor. It's just kind of flatlined. And so I call, nurse, something like that, and there's a nurse there, and she comes over, and she goes, it's okay, son, it's just his time. And I said, no, that's not how this works. This works where you revive him and get the doctor. She's like, it's Christmas, we're not gonna find a doctor. It's like, what kind of place did I put my dad in? Guilt, grow. And so I call 911, because that's what you do. And so the paramedics arrive. I'm immediately on the phone with my sister who lives up in Seattle, and I'm talking, and she has the first thought that I have, which is, who's gonna tell mom that this is happening? Because neither one of us want to do that. My mom is a lovely, lovely woman. Growing up, I guess we wouldn't call her a tiger mom, because that's not culture. More like a koala mom, maybe. It looks cuddly, but slash you, or like, I don't know, one of those, maybe some bird species that's really annoying, the red dyed haired Anoia bird, the Yenta bird. And so anyway, neither one of us wants to do this. And it's and Dad's there with the firemen, and the firemen eventually come out and they go, we're sorry, your 90-year-old father is gone. So we make some calls, figure out what we're supposed to do. Who knows what you're supposed to do? And the thing is that he wanted to be buried in a Jewish manner, and so we called our family doctor who we have there, and he knows the process, and he said, have them transfer him over to the nearby hospital, and then we'll have him transferred from there over to the Jewish mortuary, and we'll take care of it for you. It'll be fine. And it was like, okay, so we make that arrangement, and I'm still on the phone with my sister, and still trying to figure out how we now tell mom that, oh, by the way, dad is dead now. So I go over to the hospital, and I call some friends who are there, and in Las Vegas, and they come out to support, and we're all kind of commiserating, but we're standing in the emergency room. I won't sit. And for this interminably long time, like over an hour and change goes by. It's like, what could they possibly be doing? And so finally they call my name, and I kind of make this walk back through the gauntlet of despair and sadness that is the Las Vegas emergency room on Christmas Day, and night, and kind of go back and kind of preparing myself. And as I get in the very back of back, there's my dad sitting upright, completely aware. My first thought is not, thank God. It's, oh good, now we got a story to tell mom. So he can't talk because he has the tube down his throat, but you know, he is doing his best to communicate with his big blue eyes. And so we call mom, we get her over there. She walks in so stoic, and she goes, well, we have to call the rabbi. Which is a very weird thing, because number one, in Jewish tradition, it's not like last rites. We don't do that. Number two, we're not a real Jewish family. We're very bacon-forward Jews. And so it's like, okay, we'll call the rabbi. Now, the doctor has said there is no medical reason why your father is still alive. All his vitals are down. His organs have all failed. He's hanging on for some reason. And just at that moment, mom's standing there, doctor explaining things to us. Boom, same thing that happened over in the rehab center, flatline. So my mother pushes aside the nurses, very stoic, and walks over to him, whispers something in his ear, boom, spike up again. Doctor says, what was that? She goes, I told him, Meyer, you were the best lay that I ever had. Okay. Now she's on the phone with the only rabbi who will answer the phone in Las Vegas on Christmas night, and it's a Hasidic rabbi, which is so far away from where we are. But anyway, after some negotiating with my mother, he winds up, he shows up, he comes in, and this is the fourth night of Hanukkah, and he announces it as he walks in, all festive, Maya, like a warrior, like a Maccabean, you're on the fourth day of Hanukkah, such a warrior. And I'm like, what, just do the Shema, do something. So anyway, so he talks to my dad, and my mom goes, no, he has to speak to all of his family. And it's like, well, he can't speak, he could listen. And so systematically, my mom calls everyone, my sister, my other sister, anyone who is still alive, to hear from that person as he's going. This goes on all night, and every time he starts to drop, my mom spikes him up with something else that's filthy. This goes on until dawn breaks through the window. Everyone has been called. The rabbi has done his thing. My father has made peace. I made the promise to say Yizkor for him every year at Yom Kippur, which I just did last week, and take care of my mom, which I did until the day she died. Thanks.